What is going on, guys? It is Average Player here. We are doing a ban list prediction video. Now, this is something that I've talked about with people from my locals. I've talked about it with Karma, and it's something that people generally have a consensus of. A couple cards on here are something that I want. But other things are just generally what I can see. Now, don't take this to heart. This isn't like, oh, Konami released ban list. I don't know what the fuck Konami's doing. They're stupid because they just do whatever they want sometimes. But we will get into it. I do have a black bar on the bottom of the screen, as you guys can tell. That's just hiding all the cards I have. It's not very many, that's why it's so small. But it is enough to actually make a difference list. And the first thing I'm going to talk about is Calamities. This card needs to go, especially since Crimson Dragon just got released. Crimson Dragon is actually the problem card to bring this out. If your deck can hard make it, it's only for the turn and not make it on your opponent's turn. So, yeah, but in terms of locking people out of the game, Very Fair Dragon's gone, Arch Nemesis Protoss is gone. You know, that cards like that are banned for a very big reason, being able to plop themselves onto your opponent's side of the field, or on your side of the field on your opponent's turn, and locking them out from playing a game. Card simply says no to playing Yu-Gi-Oh!, and I feel like this card deserves to get hit with the axe. It deserves to be banned, at least for now, until Crimson Dragon is a little bit away, and then we can ban Crimson Dragon. But the next card to get banned is one card Sluggate, Mr. Arise Heart. You ban Arise Heart, Cash can still play. And I also have another hit on Cash in here, and another indirect hit on Cash in here. But you ban Arise Heart, they don't have the Floodgate, and they can't just keep reattaching banished cards. So that's basically it. The card is so oppressive, and the fact that you really can't get rid of it kind of sucks. The next ban on here is going to be Shifter. For almost the same reason, you draw Shifter, draw phase, pitch it, and there you go. Every card sent the graveyard is banished instead. Now, I know I play this card, so I can understand how busted it is. I played in Branded, which is like a weird place to play it, but I do play it in Branded, and it is really good in Branded. Especially if you catch the Branded Chimera player, they don't like it. They can't play the game. And the reason why cards like Arise Heart and Shifter need to go is because they're too generic. Rise Heart's way too generic. You can make that in Cash easily, or you can make it in any other deck that plays 7s, and basically just floodgate your opponent so they can't play the game. Shifter almost does the same thing. I understand you have to have no cards in graveyard, and you discard it to make any card sent to the graveyard after it resolves banished instead. But the fact that it's basically a free toolbox for banishment isn't really the best. Cards like Macrocosmos and D-Fissure, I'm pretty sure, are both still at 1. So if this card doesn't get banned, at least limit it. That's what I'm asking for. Okay, hopefully I didn't show anything. Next card, Gimmick Puppet. Everybody knows the reason. Get out of here. Get gone. Get banned. I'm not putting Ibli on here. I'm not putting Ra's Disciple on here because they're not as good. Ra's Disciple would be on here, but Ibli isn't as good as this and Ra's Disciple. Because Ra's Disciple says when this card is summoned, you can't special summon monsters for the rest of the turn. This says you can't summon anything besides Gimmick Puppets for the rest of the turn. Who plays Gimmick Puppets, right? So there's that. And Ibli is actually easier to get around because most decks do play Link monsters other than fusion decks. But most of the time now, they do have a way to tribute off. Like, Brandon does play Bestials. They can pitch Rebellion, add Serenir, tribute it off. Normal summon Serenir, and Ibli's gone. And now you can special summon. So there's ways around it in other decks. So Ibli isn't as good, so I'm not putting Ibli on here. But Gimmick Puppet is going to be on here. That card is absolutely bonkers. Next is going to be Eradicator. This is just for everybody else. See, they can make they can use Eradicator, and it gets rid of 3/4 of the game, which is spells or traps, whichever one they do. I understand Imperial Order's banned because you just can't activate spell cards. But then also is a Royal Decree for 3 turns. It is way better than Imperial Order and Royal Decree. Or it's not as bad as Imperial Order and Royal Decree because Royal Decree says you can't activate trap cards. And this, I understand they're going to the graveyard. But in some decks, spells and traps in graveyard are actually really good. But I consider the thing comes from this is not some decks. It's a hit to generally every single deck that plays the card. It is just really good. AKA Labyrinth, who searches it. And now we're going into limiteds. Droll Lockbird, limit to 1. I did forget to put a card on here, and I will mention it at the end, but yeah, Droll Lockbird, limited to 1. And I'll agree with a whole bunch of people on here that it's sad when you have to make a whole bunch of quick play spell cards that do what your deck wants them to do just to be able to dodge Droll and Lockbird. Example like Sprite Starter, Brainlet Opening. They both can activate in the standby or the draw to plop out a monster to get what you want, so you can't get Droll. Because Droll only happens on the main phase, because that's how good the card is. Then I agree Droll should be limited. And like I said, I don't see Shift to be limited. The next card I can see getting limited is Mega Nut. This is obvious reasons. It's a blatant hit to Dragon Link. Dragon Link is really good. They just won Worlds. Mega Nut is one of their best searchers. People will say get rid of Hieratic Seal. I don't think Hieratic Seal is the problem. Especially since Hieratic Seal has to be tributed. And all it takes is a good call by to stop Hieratic Seal. There's multiple ways to stop it. And Magnemut, or Meganut as most people call them, just search, you ash it. But there's ways to keep doing it. And you can do it on your opponent's turn, which makes it even better. To go along with the Magnemut, we're going to put Lubellion here. I play Lubellion and 1 in Branded. And I feel like Lubellion is a really good card. But the problem with it is it's way too generic. It's a dragon. Say you special summon it out, you send it to grave or whatever. You can play on. Or you can discard it and get a Bestial. There you go. And it's basically it's a 1-card engine. Or not a 1-card, it's a 1-card starter. Basically in Dragons, as long as your opponent goes first. So, next card at 1, and it has to come off the ban list to start pour. It is something I've been hoping for a while. Please bring it back. I want to play Phantom Knight Orcust again. And the last card to go to 1 is Pot of Prosperity. This is something a lot of people actually been calling for a while. It's not to the fact that I couldn't afford it. As you guys saw in a couple deck lists, I was playing it. The problem is the card is way too strong. Digging 6 and choosing 1 is the reason why cards like Eradicator's good, Shifter's good, Droll's so good, and other cards like Floodgates and other problematic staples that basically stop your opponent from doing something. That's why they're so good, because you can play 3 copies of them in your deck. You don't open it first hand. You play 3 Pot of Prosperity. You activate it. You dig 6. You're most likely going to see one of those Floodgates that you know your opponent doesn't have a good time playing against. You limit it to 1. It limits most consistency. It is also an indirect hit to Kashtira. It's an indirect hit to Fluwandereeze. It's a very, very indirect hit to just consistency. It's a direct hit consistency. You shouldn't be able to just plop 3 cards in your deck that can just reveal 6 more cards. That's basically top 11 if you're going first, that you have knowledge of, or the top 12 if you're going second, and they don't have a negate to get you what you want. That's almost half your deck, and that's way too good. So I think the card should just go to 1 and make it a little bit better. People would still play it because it is good, but unfortunately the card is way too good. And if you're so worried about it, if you want to play the extra copies, play Thrust. Thrust can search it. There you go. Alright, I have a Copium hit, and this isn't for a ban, this is for a limit, and it is Shangri-Era. With the Rise Heart, Shangri-Era can still pop off. With 2 of Shangri-Era and a Rise Heart, depending on how good of a cash hand they have and what board they make, it is still almost able to complete a 5 or more zone lock. And I know Shangri-Era on itself, on your turn, say you're the cash player and you play Shangri-Ear and you play 2 of them, on your turn before your turn ends can solicitate a 3 zone lock, and then when your opponent's turn happens, can also lock another 2 zones by itself, just off of 1 activation. So I'd like to see it limited to 1. Your opponent gets rid of Shangri-Ear. It's a lot harder for cash to recuperate, but I feel like this card is really strong, and also the zone locking is just way too good. Shangri-Ear is a problem, and I feel like it should get limited with Arise Heart getting banned. And a couple cards I'm not talking about on this list because I feel like it's fine. Fenrir and Unicorn. I feel like Fenrir and Unicorn are both some solid cards, but I don't feel like they should be hit at all. If anything, if you were to hit a cash main deck monster or card, it would be Fenrir, which I would obviously limit because Pank is limited. Fenrir should be limited. Fenrir and Pank literally on crack. So there's that. Next, they just released this set. To make it better, they put Salad on the map again. Unban my boy Gazelle. Please, just my boy Gazelle. I love Salamangrates. Everybody knows I love this deck. Please unban it. Or unlimit it. The card is just so good. It is necessary. But that is my ban list prediction. Let me know what you guys think down in the comments. Let me know what you guys would change, because obviously this is what I think. This is what I want. Some cards can jump around here, but like I said, everybody has different opinions. So let me know what you guys want and what you think the ban list will be down in the comments. Don't forget to drop a like, subscribe. This channel is growing at a decent rate, and by 2024, I would like to try to reach 500 subscribers. I'm going to try to upload more. I have another deck profile hopefully coming soon, and I will see you guys later. Peace.